Welcome to Ancestral Health Today, evolutionary insights into modern health.
Hi, Anne. Welcome to the Ancestral Health Today podcast. How are you today?
Hi, good morning. I'm great.
That's wonderful to hear.
Morning from Colorado.
Yes, amazing. So Anne, let's talk about yourself a little bit. If you can introduce yourself, just tell our audience a little bit about you, who you are, and just for them to get to know you a little bit.
Hi, I live near Denver in Colorado. I've been in education my entire life as a history teacher and then substitute teaching most of my life. I have had many health issues that have brought me into the Ancestral Health Symposium. I've been volunteering there since 2016.
Wonderful. That's quite a bit of time volunteering.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So tell me a little bit about your health issues, whatever you feel comfortable sharing, and how that correlates with ancestral health.
Sure. In 2005, after the birth of my second daughter, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Had to relearn how to walk, talk, use my left hand, left face. I believed I'd be in a wheelchair by the time my kids were graduating high school. But that was not the case at all. I feel like information I've learned about ancestral health has really changed the course of that dramatically, where I'm able to work full time and lead a very full life. In 2020, I was diagnosed with an eye condition that really, really altered my life, though.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. January of 2020, I had a 3-week headache. And nothing would touch this headache at all. I was trying ibuprofen, different pills, different everything. Nothing was touching it. And I could barely stand to be in a classroom. So finally, somebody convinced me to put sunglasses on, and the headache went away. I went to my ophthalmologist. I already have another eye condition that is the leading cause of blindness in people under 40. And my ophthalmologist diagnosed me with Stargardt's macular degeneration. It's more commonly known as juvenile macular degeneration, but I have adult onset. I'm 49 years old. But when you look up Stargardt's macular degeneration, it does cause legal blindness. There's no treatment, there's no cure, there's no hope. You just prepare to go blind within, he said, 1 decade from 2020. So that's what I was facing in January 2020, just before the world fell apart from COVID. When I went to the Ancestral Health Symposium that year, I went around and I asked friends there, I asked a Stanford researcher, I asked a couple MDs, what would you do with this diagnosis? Because from that community, I know that what the doctors tell us is not necessarily accurate. It's not necessarily a dead end. I have hope within that ancestral community, within that wisdom, that we can improve our situations. And all 3 of them independently, without hesitation, told me to try red light therapy. And back then, just to survive the normal environment, I was wearing glasses tinted as dark as they could be, plus old grandma wraparound glasses to block all light, plus a hat to block the light above me, just to tolerate a normal environment. When they would dilate my eyes at the eye doctor, it did not get brighter. Normally, when they dilate your eyes, you're like blinded from the bright lights and it really hurts you and might give you a headache or a migraine. It's so bright from the dilation. But that was my baseline. It crept up on me. But that's where I was living, why I needed the double sunglasses and everything. And so for these 3 people at AHS to tell me to use red light therapy, okay, maybe that'll work, but I can't physically look at light because it was as if my eyes were dilated all the time. that level of brightness. I stopped working in January 2020 because I couldn't tolerate a classroom anymore. I didn't know what kind of work I could do without where I could tolerate the environment, the lighting. So yes, all three of them in August 2020 told me to try red light therapy. And I'm like, great idea, but I just can't do it. And then I was talking to Karen Pendergrass, who is the creator of the Paleo Foundation. And she told me the same thing. She said, "And you need to do she calls it photobiomodulation, more technical term for red light therapy." And as I'm typing to her and I say, "No, Karen, I can't look at a light," she sends me a Google Doc with all of her research because her mother also has macular degeneration. And she says, "And this is the machine you need to buy. It's $60 on Amazon. This will change your life. Give it a try." And so with that, I bought the machine. I figured because I figured it'd be a $10,000 machine or something, just not worth the gamble because you don't know if anything will work or not. And I mean, everything about my condition says that it's unavoidable and you do go blind.
Okay, so let's go back to that time. You buy the machine.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened the first time you used it?
So with the machine, the only research I could find on NCBI about photobiomodulation for Stargardt's macular degeneration, there was one study back then with 12 people. So extremely early days, the study was ongoing. There was no information about it yet. And in that study, though, the protocol was 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes at night. So that's the protocol that I used. I used this machine. It's a Bure machine. It's a German-made machine. It's got a timer on it. And so I set the timer. I set the timer for 3 minutes every morning, 3 minutes at night. I just made it part of my routine. Like I drink coffee. You don't have to look at it. The light penetrates your tissues. I believe it's 3 to 4 centimeters in. So you can close your eyes with it. You can look down at your cell phone while that's on. You don't have to look at it or anything for it to work. But I tolerated it just fine. It's effectively a heat lamp. It produces a lot of heat, and that heat is actually very kind of calming to me. Very nice. But I just made it part of my routine. It gave me hope. And I believe it was about 2 weeks later that I was back at my eye doctor, because back then I was seeing the eye doctor every 6 weeks, the ophthalmologist every 6 weeks. And when I did the eye exam, reading the letters on the chart, I was back to 2020. I had been at 1720 before. And after just 2 weeks of 3 minutes in the morning and 3 minutes in the evening, I was back to 2020 vision. So my clarity improved. I wasn't exactly sure if my light sensitivity was improving because it's such a gradual process. But within 2 months, I was sure that my light sensitivity was improving. It was getting a little bit easier to work in the world and do things. But my functional vision was so affected by this light sensitivity. Like I really couldn't see things in the dark. I couldn't differentiate things. If there's something black on black, I would just not be able to see it.
Were you able to drive?
I, of course, wanted to keep driving, but that's a really good question, because there for a while, I avoided driving when the sun, I called it when the sun was in my window. So if the sun's above the car, I'm fine with my double sunglasses and everything. But if the sun is in my car window, it's too bright for me, and I just decided it wasn't safe. And so for 6 months or more, I did not drive.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
sometimes unsafe even without having that issue,
Oh,
because
yeah.
it can be pretty blinding at certain angles. I can't imagine having that sensitivity and trying to navigate in a car at that time. That must have been very scary.
It was a terrible time because I believed I was going blind. I was connecting. This is during 2020. We're a few months into 2020 now, and we're spending so much time online. I stopped working, so a lot of time online. So I was learning all the accessible features on my phone, on my computer, to make it easier for me, make the print bigger, all of these things. I was connecting into the low vision communities online, learning how they function. How do they go through their lives? What kind of work do they do? What is their quality of life like? How do you? I joined a blind book club, and that was a really nice social experience for me, to just kind of normalize where I thought I was going.
Yeah. So at 2 months, you are noticing that your light sensitivity is improving. So
Yes.
walk me through, what happens further down the line.
Well, in time, I was finding research on this saying that um, only morning exposure to red light therapy was helpful. So the evening 3 minutes of the machine was not giving me any benefit.
Mm.
So then when I learned about that, I
Do
spoke
you
about,
remember why?
I, I believe in nature, there's more red light, and someone else I think can explain this better, but I believe sunlight has more red light in the morning sun than later in the day. And so that must be just how our bodies are wired, what we expect, is my guess.
Okay.
But I honestly can only speak to my personal experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when I learned about that about 6 months in, I dropped the 3 minutes of red light therapy in the evening and only did I put all my minutes into the morning, did 6 minutes every morning. And then when I went to the eye doctor about 6 months in, the ophthalmologist, and he dilated my eyes, it got brighter. It got brighter, which was magical. And I welcomed so much because I'm going every 6 weeks and they dilate my eyes. It's like, I'm waiting for it to get brighter. It doesn't get brighter. But about 6 months in, my eyes were actually seeing the effects of the dilation drops, which in my case was a very welcome change toward normalcy.
What is your doctor saying about this
Yes.
progression?
So I did ask my doctor after Karen showed me all of her research. I I came to my ophthalmologist. He's at a university hospital, and it's quite interesting because university hospitals I kind of have mixed feelings about because they often don't like, in my experience, they often are weary of the cutting edge frontiers of what we're learning because they've told me in no uncertain terms before, no, the research says this, so I will not prescribe it this way. I will not allow this for you. And I've been the patient that has been their poster child, that they have to change what they know personally. And so with this doctor, though, I shared the research with him. I asked, would this hurt me if I try red light therapy? Like, he can't really recommend it because he doesn't maybe know so much about it. But I said, is this safe? Because I'm faced with going blind in 10 years.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a very delicate decision to
Yeah.
make.
What do
Yes.
I have to lose? Honestly,
Yeah.
what do I have to lose? And his answer I thought was so interesting. He looked me in the eyes and he said, Anne, he said, there's some very, very interesting research going on right now with red light therapy. He said, you're welcome to try it. He said, I don't know if it will help, but it won't hurt. Bingo, green light. So I started, and about 6 months in, my eyes are seeing a change when they dilate. My eyes at the ophthalmologist office, he's like sharing my excitement because he's an ophthalmologist. He sees people decline all day long. And so it was really exciting to get to go in and share great news with him. I about a year in, when I was going to get new glasses and get a new prescription, I was able to get glasses with a little bit less tint. So these have less tint than my first year glasses. My first year glasses, you really couldn't see my eyes even this much.
And were you wearing those all the time?
Of course, yeah, because it was as if my eyes were nearly dilated.
Yeah.
I had a plastic film on all the windows in my house because you can imagine every window, every source of light was just blinding to me. And I was really particular which light bulbs I would use. I really hate the LED lights. I just really toned down my environment quite a bit. I would only go on walks when it was already dark outside. I'd wear the hat because the street lights were too much. All of these things. So yeah, about 1 year I got glasses that had less tint. And then this is 2023. And last summer, summer's flown by. In June this summer, I flew to Latvia in Eastern Europe, where summer solstice is a huge celebration. And I went to a summer solstice celebration with my Latvian friends. It's the longest day of the year. So they're very far from the equator. The sun barely sets. You stay up all night long. It's a wonderful celebration. And to me, it was a huge triumph that I could do that I could enjoy it. And I actually didn't even wear any sunglasses. I just wore my clear glasses.
That is amazing.
Yes, I got these clear glasses. It would have been September of 2022 that I got these glasses. No, September 2022, I got these totally clear glasses. And I've been really good with them. So that's a year and 3/4. No, 2 years and 3/4, I think. So January 2020. No, I didn't start red light therapy till July of 2020. So July of 2020 until September of 2022, I went from double sunglasses and a hat to clear glasses and summer solstice.
Yeah, that is amazing. Really,
Now,
really amazing.
I do this machine. I use the machine every single morning. A couple weeks ago, I skipped 2 mornings. Like life just got busy, and I'm like, it's fine. Because once in a while, I'll skip 1 day a week, a couple times a month, maybe. But I had a week where I missed 2 days, and I noticed light sensitivity was worse than my usual. So I really do use this every single day. I brought it with me when I went to Europe. It's my best friend. If I go somewhere overnight, it comes with me. That's fine. That's fine.
Great.
Yeah.
That is absolutely wonderful. Now, how many minutes are you doing now in the mornings?
Yes, I do 8 minutes every morning now.
Okay.
It's just part of my morning routine. As I'm getting ready in the morning, I sit down with it, have coffee. I actually scroll through my phone when it's on, and it just, no big deal.
Is there a plan to increase that time, or is there a reason why you would need to increase that time?
I only increased it from 6 minutes till 8 because I was having such good benefits. And it seemed easy enough. I'm a slow coffee drinker, and no actual reason. I just kind of fell into it.
Okay, great. Yeah. And what does your doctor say now? What is his reaction? What is he recommending this to other patients? What's going on that end?
Well, he tells me that he no longer believes I will go totally blind. How great is that? Yes. I mean, really, Stargardt's macular degeneration, that's legal blindness, no treatment, no cure. And I'm altering the course of that for sure. Who knows what the future brings? But I have hope. I'm working full time. in all environments, and I feel great. I feel
When were you able to go back to work?
I went back to work in October of 2021, and I started working as a caregiver then. So I was working for older people with dementia in their homes. And that was a better environment for me too, because I'm working with a single person in their home, not in a government classroom with those terrible lights. So I could usually avoid bad lighting situations. I could wear my sunglasses, hat, like people don't care. You work in a high school, kids look at you funny, it can be an issue.
Hmm.
But you work with an older person, they're pretty understanding. And so, yeah, I went back to work as a caregiver, and that was really enjoyable to me, and an environment that I could tolerate. And then I went back to substitute teaching in October last year, so October 2022.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, it's been great.
And have you maintained that?
Oh, yeah, I'm there every day.
Perfect. And how many hours can you
They're 8 hour
sustain?
days. I'm
Oh,
there
so
every
you're
day.
there all day
Yes.
without having a setback or causing any issues.
Right. Once in a while, maybe once a month or something, there's an environment, and this hasn't happened for a few months, but there can be an environment that's just a little triggering for me that just sets
Hmm.
off. And I get light induced migraines too, and I have for several years, like 18 years. But so I keep these sunglasses in my school backpack. I keep the hat in my backpack if the overhead light bothers me too much, so that I always kind of have those tools in my toolkit in case I need a little assistance.
Wonderful. Have you ever done the full body red light therapy?
Oh, what a great question. So I wanted to go to Latvia since I was in college. And I went in September of 2022 to Latvia for the very first time. So about a year ago. And I got there, I brought my awesome lamp. I had the adapter, the European adapter. I plug it in at the hotel and it goes zap and blows up.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, what do I do now? So I'm at my hotel and I Google red light Riga. And then I Google red light therapy Riga. And I find a red light therapy place. It was called Floaty. It's a little spa. And they have stand-up machines, stand-up red light machines. My friends thought they were exorbitantly expensive at 10 euros for 10 minutes, I think it was.
Oh my goodness. I would
So
kill to have that price over here.
no, 10 euros is maybe $11. And
Yeah.
so it's like, oh, it's okay. I really need this. It's fine. So we'd walk 20 minutes every day to go, and I would get this therapy and I would stand in it. And yes, it was full body. And so I would take advantage and expose as much skin to just take in the full experience. Because this red light therapy is obviously not just great for your eyes, but it's great for your whole body. Um, the research there, athletes use red light therapy to promote healing. It increases circulation and gets more nutrients to the tissues that need it. And it's just a wonderful, very tolerable modality.
Yeah, absolutely. The first time I tried it, it was a full body machine and it was $60 for 10 minutes. Yeah, so they're not cheap over here. And I think that was a special, actually. I don't know,
Wow.
what the price. This place was opening. It was the first month that they were opening,
Sure.
and I actually went twice. And for me, the effect that I felt immediately was a significant increase in my energy. So, like you, I have a lot of health conditions, and really debilitating fatigue can be one of them.
Yes.
So, I just said, let's try this one day. And, walking out of there within a half an hour, my energy was completely changed. So that was a great experience. And then I talked to you and you recommended that I buy the machine. So I don't tend to do it every day, but now I'm motivated to do that. I usually do it just on those days where, my energy really tanks.
Yeah.
And then it gives me a really good boost. But, I'll
Nice.
definitely try to do it on a consistent basis, because it seems like those benefits can be sustained that way.
Definitely. I've got three girlfriends in their early 60s, and one has macular degeneration. The others are concerned about it, and they all three bought the same machine. And so we'll go to the mountains together. Sometimes one of us will bring the machine, we pass it around. But my friend with macular degeneration, she was having shots in her eye every time she was going to her eye doctor. I think she might have been going every 6 weeks to maybe 12, but she was getting eye shots. And then after starting red light therapy, she didn't need the shots anymore for like
Oh, wow.
a year or something. And then she told me last month she had to get a shot. I said, "How's the machine going?" She said she hasn't been using it.
Oh, wow.
So very interesting.
Yeah,
Very
definitely an interesting, and I hope that a lot more research continues to be
Yes.
done. Yeah, and many different applications for it, for sure. So let's pivot a little bit to ancestral health. You
Yes.
mentioned at the beginning that you have MS, and
Yes.
that you found ancestral health, and that you've had great benefits from the concepts that you've learned at AHS. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. So I've been volunteering at Ancestral Health Symposium since about 2016. And I love health related things, sciencey things. I'm a history major, so it's not quite my primary language, of course, but I really love to get this information. I love the um, enthusiasm of the crowd. I love the shared knowledge. It's very PhD heavy, but I always feel comfortable asking whatever question I have of anybody within the group, because we're all coming with the same fundamental beliefs and understanding about things. One year, maybe might have been 2017, TRICARE had just denied my multiple sclerosis drug. I was on an infusion twice a year for my MS, and it was working beautifully. No relapses, no disease progression, but TRICARE, in their infinite wisdom, decided not to pay for it anymore. And I was pretty anxious about it. I was doing appeals. I was appealing it. I eventually got approved at a federal level appeal against TRICARE. I won a federal appeal against TRICARE because that's what I do. But at AHS that year, I talked to Rob Wolf, and I asked, well, what would you recommend to help when I can't get the drug that's helped me so much? And he takes me aside. He says, "Anne, I would try the fasting mimicking diet." And I'm, in his presence, I'm like, "Okay, Rob, anything you say, that's wonderful. I can do that." But in reality, eating very little food for 5 days scared me and was very difficult. And like I said, I was approved to continue taking the drugs. So the urgency of that kind of change got pushed back. But I ended up trying this fasting mimicking diet, which is actually vegan. I mean, to me, in many ways, it goes against ancestral principles on the contents of the food in that way, but we can adjust it to fit better. The fasting mimicking diet that you can buy includes beans, includes lentils, includes some things that we don't necessarily eat on a paleo diet, but we can adjust it to make it fit our needs. But this diet is 5 days. It's about 760 calories a day. You eat a lot of vegetable soup, maybe 10 almonds for breakfast, some herbal tea. And after 5 days, you produce more stem cells. It kills autoimmune cells. That's how it could help the MS and other auto conditions. And it kills cancer cells, which we all have. And the creator of it, Dr. Walter Longo from USC, he's been researching this longevity for 30 years. He says that everyone should do it. Even he says Olympic athletes should do fasting mimicking at least twice a year. So your most prime people should do it twice a year. And he says people with autoimmunity might do it monthly, as often as monthly. That's the most often you would do it. So I did it 10 or 11 times that year, this fasting mimicking diet.
Even on your medication?
Yes, with my medication.
Okay.
I did the fasting mimicking diet, and hoping that it could just alleviate the MS even more. Because like you, I deal with a lot of fatigue. I didn't notice any dramatic results from the MS, because my MS is actually pretty quiet and calm and doesn't bother me too much, aside from that fatigue, which everyone complains they're tired, so kind of no big deal. But what it fixed was my shoulder. Doing CrossFit 5-6 years before, I partially tore my rotator cuff in my right shoulder. And for these 5 or 6 years, I was unable to lift my right hand above my shoulder. I couldn't reach in the closet and do normal things. I went to a surgeon. He said it was inoperable, couldn't help me. And I think then I was maybe 39, 40. Like, really? I'm this young and I can't move my shoulder? This is silly. This is ridiculous. But after 3 cycles of the fasting mimicking diet, 3 of the 5-day cycles, so 3 months, I realized that I could move my hand up. Like, I had to rebuild muscle, but I had range of motion again. So I believe completely that fasting mimicking diet produced stem cells and repaired my shoulder.
That's amazing.
It's so
That's
cool.
amazing.
It's so cool. So yeah, I'll use that if I get too many aches and pains, if I feel like my body's soft tissue's not doing great, I know that that's how I can pick up and improve it. And then that year, and which AHS would that be? It was the San Diego AHS.
I think 17?
What? I think it was after that.
Okay.
But UC San Diego, I was a speaker. It was the one after Seattle. But I was a speaker about the fasting mimicking diet. I spoke about my experiences on the fasting mimicking diet, which was very exciting. And I just remembered when I gave that talk, I talked a little bit about my vision problems. And I said that I had hoped that it could improve my vision with this light sensitivity. But sadly, it had no effect. So yeah, that's why I did 10, 11 cycles of it over a year, because I imagined it could help my eyes, but it did not affect my Stargardt's macular degeneration. That's a genetic condition, recessively inherited, super lucky. But I'm just happy I found the red light therapy that helps the eyes.
Yeah, that is amazing results, and just a different outlook on your future,
Yes.
From expecting to go totally blind to being able to go back to, how you were before, for the most part, right?
Live the life that I had.
Yeah, wonderful. So you said you do continue to do the fast and mimic diet every once in a while?
Every once in a while. It's been a while though. It's maybe been close to a year now. The last time I did it, there was a death, someone very close to me 2 days in. I stopped. Like, this is the wrong time for me to put my body under that level of stress. And then working in a school is just so
taxing,
very, very, very tiring that I've not done it. And with MS, I don't do well in the heat. So summer's not a great time for me either.
Yeah.
So we have lots of excuses for these things, but it's in my toolkit. I know I can do it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not feeling that pain and, that
Yeah,
shoulder issue, then,
right,
something that you can have in your tool bag and know that you can use it if you need it. Yeah.
right.
So what else kept you going to AHS? What else drew
Oh, the
you to?
connections, the
Okay.
motivation. It always, I'm like refreshed and motivated more to improve my health, to share with other people and help others. You know, I was so happy the last one I went to, I had no health problems that I needed help with.
Oh,
I finally wasn't bugging people asking them for help. How do I improve this? Yeah, I felt really good about that.
that is amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
what a testimony. Yeah, incredible.
Yes.
Yeah. So, if people are looking for more information about red light therapy, where would you point them to?
That's a very good question. And I don't have a great answer there. I really took Karen Pendergrass's research. There's a lot of NCBI studies, and this is back in 2020. I haven't looked there very recently, but there are studies there at NCBI that I would point toward. Uh,
And just look up photobiomodulation or
yes,
red light therapy to
photo
find those. Yeah.
photobiomodulation, I think, is the key word there.
Yeah.
Photobiomodulation and macular degeneration.
Yeah, and that way people can, look up particular application that they may be
Yes.
interested in and see what the research says, if there's any research so far on that aspect. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah. And as far as the particular unit that you do use, could you spell the name for us?
Yes. This is the machine. It's the only one made by this company, Beurer, Beurer. It's a German made machine. And it ranges from $60 to $70 on Amazon. And it's just been fabulous. Karen really emphasized to me at the beginning, only use this brand, only use this machine. I think it's, well, she really did all the research. And I really very much trusted her because her mom, she did that to try to help her mom with her macular degeneration.
Yeah, and it's great to have a source that is recommended and that
Yes.
research has been done on it.
Yes.
That puts a lot of weight on it. Wonderful. So, and is there anything that you would like to say to people listening that you would like to for them to keep in mind in regards to red light therapy?
Sure. I have just been nothing but pleased. I've been so happy that I tell people this is the best gamble of my life to try red light therapy because I was in a place where I was hopeless. I knew that I would be blind soon, and I was learning how I could live and navigate a life with no usable vision, legally blind. And this Karen gave me hope. This machine gave me hope. And I mean the improvement. Look at that. I wear normal glasses where you can see my eyes and I can travel and there's light above me. I'm not wearing a hat. I was getting headaches from that all the time, from just lights in the environment. So I feel normal and typical again. And I'm just so relieved, so happy, and so thankful. And like I said, going in June to Latvia for summer solstice. Oh, actually, here, this is my flower crown from summer solstice.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah, that's what
amazing.
all the women wear there. Yes.
Yeah, for
So
people who are
that's
watching us on video, they can see that now. But for those of you listening, you can go to the YouTube channel and see what she's talking about. It's really a really nice piece. Yes,
yes, it's made of
absolutely.
flowers and different grasses or something, and the women there kind of stitch it together, and it's just this beautiful flower crown, and
Fascinating.
it's an amazing time.
Yeah. Now, have you been have you been advised, or is there any research that indicates whether this is something that you will have to do for the rest of your life? Or is there any period of time that it's sort of indicated for?
I have not seen anything like that, but just from my experience that if I miss a couple days in a week that I'm more light sensitive, that tells me that I'll do this for my entire life.
Yeah, and if it's
And
giving you the results, why not? Yeah.
yeah, it's easy. I drink. It's it's passive. That's it. I don't have to actively do anything. You don't have to get off the couch. You sit at the table. It's very simple.
Yeah.
I said I scroll on
Nice.
my phone, drink my coffee. I'm going to do that anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
very easy intervention to
Yes.
apply with, so far that I know of and that you know of, no detrimental effects from doing that.
And
Yeah.
it's so affordable because I never imagined it could be that affordable. Like you talked about how expensive full body red light was. I never imagined a home device would be within reach.
Yeah, that's the price of one session of where I can access near me for full body. And again, if I remember correctly, the sessions that I did was on a special because it was the first
Right.
month that the place was open. So even more expensive than that. So it's really, really worth considering if someone, can afford it. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. And thank you so very much for being with us today. We'd really appreciate your insight and being able to share your personal experience with red light therapy. And I'm sure that a lot of people listening will be able to dig deeper into this and perhaps benefit as well.
Yes, I hope so. I'm always happy to share what's working for me. And this has been kind of problematic, though, in trying to help other people because in health groups on Facebook, they kick you out when you try to share something beneficial and give people hope. And that's really discouraging.
Yeah, it is discouraging. I've had that experience as well in terms of other things, and
Right.
it's a really difficult position to be in because although we understand that not everything is going to be equally beneficial or even beneficial at all
Right.
to everybody for many different reasons, it is discouraging to see that your experience is not validated as well. Yeah, it's like if somebody was, not having the results that I am, I wouldn't not validate their experience because mine is different. And yeah, that is something that is really unfortunate. Yeah,
So
your experience is your experience, and you're not purporting this as something that is going to have equal effects for everyone.
right. But this is undeniable. This is undeniable how much it's helped me. And I really, really want to thank you for giving me a platform to share my story and hopefully reach other people who could also benefit from this.
Yeah, and if there's nothing detrimental in trying it, even if you don't get any benefits, then that's all that happens. You tried.
That's right.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, thanks again for being with us today, and we really appreciate it. And we look forward to hearing more from you in the future and how you continue to do.
Well, thank you so much, and best of luck to this awesome new podcast.
Thank
Really
you
happy.
so much.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Ancestral Health Today. We hope you enjoyed our discussion on how evolutionary insights can inform modern health practices. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast to catch future episodes.